out of all the things we've ever talked about on this show, the one thing almost 95 to 100% of the people we have talked to about the Oakland to Vegas situation are like, I'm not sure this is going to happen.
Why don't we charge the damn mound right from the jump here and get to the commissioner's comments? And there were many, but I think the one that we should start with is that this will be his last term. Now,
term is 5 years. It's not like it's happening tomorrow.
Exactly. So he made it official that he's done January of 2029. And a classic quote from a guy that I've spent a lot of time with at nightclubs and raves. You can only have so much fun in one lifetime. I have been open with them, the owners, about the fact that this is going to be my last team. I actually have been to a few events with the commish, Kratz, and I'm being sarcastic. He is not a 10 on the fun scale. He was fine. We got along. We had some good combos. Obviously, he's a super smart guy. I think there's no doubt about that. Feel meter low. And I think for a lot of people, they thought this was going to say 2025 or 6. 2029, who the fuck knows what's going on in 2029? That's a long ways away.
They have a deadline. When we're going to get our expansion in, when all this stuff, so he can have his mark on what's happening. So 2029. What I want to know is who's the next to start buttering the bread of the owners to be like, hey, I want to be the commissioner.
Theo, can we say Theo?
We got a lot of questions from people on all the socials sending us notes. And the one name that surfaced often is Theo next?
I mean, for a while, I thought it would have been Costas, who we're going to have on later, but I think that Theo is a name that...
That's why I wanted to ask Bob.
Pops out. When does the CBA expire for MLB?
In a few years. He's got to work another one.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get through that. Probably have a round of expansion after the A's move. Get the A's thing settled.
It's 26, I think.
And then he has all the stuff with signing deadline, this deadline. So you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna just completely try to destroy the union before he goes out. Is what it looks like. Depending on what it is.
Is that what you want your legacy to be, though? Like, do you want your legacy to be, oh, I'm crushing my enemy and I'm making money for all my billionaires? Or do you think there's a slice of care about public legacy with the other, trillion plus people that care about the sport and that really should be looked to as the root of our sport, right? Which is fans, which are normal human beings and not billionaires who sneeze 500K into their tissues. You know what I'm saying, Kratz? Like, do you feel like there's a slice of care where there might be a decision or two, even if it's not until 2028, where he goes, you know what? I think this is better for the sport. Because I know most of the time his job is to work for the owners, think short term, and get anything done that makes an extra penny now versus later. But do you think there will be a slice or two? Because the one thing that you can take a pro out of, in my mind, from his entire tenure is the rule changes this past season. That was a big win for his Q score in my mind.
He wants to make one more mark on the history. He always talked when he first got hired in 15, he talked about how Bud Selig changed things in history. That just gives you a precursor of what he wants to do. To me, I think it will be opposite of what AJ said. I think he may take a shot at crushing the union, but ultimately, at the end, he wants to make sure the millions upon hundreds of millions of baseball fans out there know that he helped the game, not the 30 owners. So to me, I think he's going to hedge his bet and he's going to make some more pro player moves.
You had me until the last.
I'm just
pro
saying
player
words.
moves?
Not pro player, pro game.
Pro game. I'm sorry. Not pro. It'll never be pro player.
No.
Pro game.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because he's going to want to leave on a positive note, but there's also, if, let's say there, according to people you talk to, there's a good chance there's another work stoppage in 26 when the CBA is, because of people are going to want what he said. They were going to want a free agent deadline. They're going to want all that stuff in the offseason. And then they're also going to want more than likely a cap and then they're going to get, and then the players are going to say, well, you want a cap, we want a floor. So it's going to be a big deal, I think, because I think this might be the one where they think, well, these guys are making too much money. They can't afford to sit out a year. And I don't know this from anybody, but I feel like the owners are preparing themselves right now for that because, they're, looking at it from the outside, slicing salaries, trying to save money here and there. And I think they do a lot like the Players Association does, where they take money and put it in like what they call a central fund. Like I know the players do that, where players can get money from the central fund when they're on strike or they're locked out. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes out, because that 26 bargaining is going to be a tough one, especially after the work stoppage. He also doesn't want to be the commissioner, after Selig went all those years and never had a stoppage, and then Manfred twice is going to have stoppages. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in some of these decisions. Listen, for all the shit and grief we give him, he has done some good things. There's been some good moves he's made. The pitch clock has been a success for most people. There's been some other things he's done, I think, to help the game, but he's just, I don't know.
He's not well liked by people. And also, let's be real. I mean, football's in its own stratosphere. MLB used to be ahead of NBA, correct? We in agreement on that? I mean, obviously, Jordan was in a world of his own. Kind of LeBron's in that world for the last 20 years. But has the NBA not surpassed MLB in certain categories where they used to have the lead? And also, does the commissioner of the NBA make our commissioner look incredibly amateur at his job?
Out of touch.
Yep.
Just out of touch, because he is the extension of the ownership. I don't know that every fan knows when you say the MLB commissioner, like, oh, well, he's the one that puts down all the rules for the owners. And so he's an extension. And if he's boring and out of touch, especially with the comment that he made about the Bay Area, it shows that the owners are out of touch as a whole, not as individuals. There's some that are really, really good, but they're out of touch if they make comments and they let him make comments like he's made, because that's the people that he hangs around with.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to that. There's two pieces of the puzzle here. Do you want to do the free agency or the A's portion?
I mean, let's start on the A's, because the free agency one to me is super interesting.
So you want to take more time on free agency?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. Let's talk A's for a moment. Then we're going to get our guest, and then we'll talk free agency a little bit later on. So with the A's, he essentially said that there's another team in the Bay Area. So A's fans, fuck off and root for them instead. Mm-hmm. Wait, but there's more. Our buddy Dave Sampson, who joined us earlier this week, I listened to his show this morning, and he also mentioned some key words about the Vegas proposition. One of them was that the site for the ballpark was adequate. Like, that's not a word you use when you're feeling great. He also used the word confident about everything happening, right? So Sampson was pointing out how that is commish and owner speak for
we'll see what happens.
He goes, if they were fucking crushing it, they would have said, I guarantee this is all good. It is a definite. This is done. He goes, there were no words like that. Confident, that's like during baseball season when you give a vote of confidence to a manager or a closer, and then a week later. Mm-hmm. So, A's fans, who are you going to root for if the team actually does end up in Vegas? Rob Manfred has a team for you, and it's the San Francisco Giants.
Stop it. Stop that. I want you to turn. You're pointing at him right now. I want you to turn to your guy right there. No, not me. AJ, and say, AJ, the White Sox are leaving Chicago. It's okay. Go be a Cubs fan. And this is a professional baseball player who has played his almost Hall of Fame career in one city where he won a World Series, moved around tons of other cities, and he despises the other team in the city. You cannot sit there and tell an A's fan, who are the most dedicated fans that there are, hey, go be a Giant fan. Go do that. That is so out of touch. So out of touch.
Okay, AJ.
No, hell no.
This is your one role play moment.
No.
You're in Chicago.
No,
The White Sox leave.
not happening. I'm a Cardinal fan or a Brewer fan.
Or I think a lot of A's fans are going to root for the Oakland Ballers, which is not a major league team, but they're just going to bring their allegiance to a
They're not
going to
root for the Giants.
No.
Because there's too many people. Listen, I played for the Giants 20 years ago. Even back then, there was a rivalry between the fans, between the organizations. I mean, I remember driving across the Bay Bridge, and there was a big sign before the Giants had won, come see the team that's actually won a World Series out in the Bay Area. Like stuff like that, like petty stuff, right? Which is great. But you're not just automatic. Yeah, maybe 50 years from now when, generations have switched over, there might be Giants fans, A's fans have become Giants fans, but quickly, it ain't happening. It's like the Mets and the Yankees. If the Mets and the Yankees were like, hey, we're moving to, I don't know, Tokyo, they'd be like, yeah, I ain't rooting for the Mets. I'm rooting for someone else. So find another team or just quit watching.
Some Yankee fans would move to Tokyo.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so out of touch. Is it worse than the piece of metal comment? No, but that was pretty bad. It actually didn't get as much pub as I thought it would, but that's a rough comment, and it's just not necessary. The one other thing that it brought me back to, because we forget things so quickly, was when they had the boycott game. Do you remember the comments then?
Oh, how many people?
Because it was filled, the reverse boycott game. He goes, it was great. It is great to see what is this year almost an average MLB crowd in the facility for one night. That's a great thing. Why do you have to do that? Why do you want to be a villain? There's no reason for that. Say, hey, this is such a shitty situation for a big market of great fans. And I wish that it would, because he's got to play the side a little bit. I wish it would have ended up differently, blah, blah, blah. But what a freaking night for them to show support, whatever. He went so far the other way. Do you know, actually in the Bay Area, I didn't realize this, but I read this morning. Mike Krukow, who's the Giants broadcaster, actually has been on the record saying in 2022, replace him. He's got to go. I'm on board with that. If that happens, he's going to fall out of this job and land on his feet. He will be the next villain in the Batman movie, and he'd be a good one.
Whoa.
Bay Area loves him the most. So anyway, there's a lot of comments that need to stop there, and it's not hard.
But it's the people he hangs around with. I'm sorry. You hang around with certain people, you always are talking certain ways. You change your reality, or you change what you think is reality. And that's the reality of the people he's having meetings with every single day. No matter how many ex-players he brings on to work for their offices. It's just the people that he's around, and the blindness to the fact that you're taking a team out of the fourth largest market and putting them in the 44th largest market.
Yep. It's just,
I want both, but
here's the bigger problem I have more than that. It's just, we've talked about this. It's just been handled so poorly from the beginning. That's it. There could have been so many other ways. What they should have done, and again, I'm not in the meetings, but they knew their lease was expiring after next year. They go to Oakland before any of this breaks, say, hey, we want to just do a short term because we're exploring other options for a stadium. Give us till 28. Give us 3 more years, 25, 26, 27. Oakland probably would have been like, cool. Then they would have been pissed when they found out they were moving, but at least you have a stadium secure instead of going like, well, we don't know where we're going to play. We just want to move. I don't know. There's just so many other ways they could have done this. And then now, like what you said, it's weird. Out of all the things we've ever talked about on this show, the one thing almost, I'm going to say 95 to 100% of the people we have talked to about the Oakland to Vegas situation are like, I'm not sure this is going to happen. Like almost every guest that is somewhat of an expert on this whole thing, from David Sampson to the Oakland writers we bring on to the Susan Slusser, Bay Area, she's more of a Giants person, but they're all like, I don't know this is going to happen. So then what? Let's say that doesn't happen. Now what do you do? Now if you're the A's, now what? You go back and you beg Oakland, please take us back. We love John Fisher.
They're already doing that yesterday for the 3-year deal. And at least paraphrasing from the city official, Lee Hansen, that spoke, they're like, yeah, cool. If you guarantee us another team, or either we get to keep this team and get rid of the owner, or give us another team when you do the expansion. You got to guarantee that. And you know that MLB is not going to guarantee that. So,
hey, everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
baseball the way it should be covered.